My name is Rose Donahue, and we are filming at the Quantum Arc Media Studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. Today, I'll be speaking with a producer, casting director, actor, dancer, jack of all trades person, Michael Forsch. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yay, happy to hear that. You're in our office often, so to actually have you in the podcast studio for an interview.
It feels very incestuous.
Well, it's a pleasure regardless. Tell me a little bit about the day in the life of Michael Forsch.
A day in the life. Well, I usually wake up really late in the morning. No.
Sounds good.
No, generally most of my days are involved during the day on trying to work out production on independent film stuff, whether I'm producing or directing or acting or something. And then in the evenings, I go perform at night on the Las Vegas Strip in the Vegas show and V Variety shows over at Planet Hollywood, and the comedic act called The Quiddlers. And so kind of like that's my day job, but it's at night. And then my other job that I sometimes make money at is, independent film.
Independent film.
Yeah.
Well, you are a very handy person to have on set, whether you're bringing your acting talents or any of the other ones that you have. So do you have a favorite thing about independent film?
I'd say like mostly what I do everything for, whether it's producing or directing or casting or whatever, is specifically so that I can do fun projects to act in. Like that's truly what I enjoy is, being able to bring a character to life on screen or on stage. That's, what makes me the happiest. But I also enjoy productions that are run well and, shot well and put together well and cast well and all that stuff so that I can then be in them or be a part of it. So it's kind of like, I feel like I can do all of these things so that I can pursue the thing that I enjoy most. So that's what I do.
It makes a lot of sense because it also helps to meet so many people.
Yes.
And it's true for acting as well, but for all the other roles in a film, people get to learn about how responsible you are, trustworthy you are, which can be a help in if they decide to cast you, I would think, knowing that you'll show up to set on time and know your lines or do your job.
Yeah, I think being able to show, how well you work professionally on one side of the camera brings a lot to the other side. So, even if I'm just working as a second AD, I'll get to meet a lot of different directors or, producers or whatever and be like, oh, by the way, I also act and look, I show up on time.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So those are two things that kind of help. I feel like sometimes, though, like people see me so busy on the production side that they're like, oh, I don't think he has time for my project. So I'm always like, no, guys, I want to work. Just throw whatever at me you want. I'll be there, you know, and I'll know my lines. And I might have some good wardrobe choices for you.
It's good to have all those in the bag. That makes sense, though, because you offer so many different things. Well, it's always a pleasure when you are acting on set and when I have gotten to act with you on set. So more of that for you.
Yes.
That kind of leads me to a question because I'm glad we're both kind of feel that way in terms of by contributing in other ways, people can know about us as actors as well a little bit. Being a casting director, are you more likely to cast someone you've worked with before?
So I would say that it's very subjective to the project I'm working on and the director. So I don't really have, as a casting director, the final say on anything. I certainly give my opinions, but a lot of time it's not up to me at all. All I can do is be like, hey, these are the people that I thought did the best job. Here's your choice. Now, people that I like like their work and enjoy working with, they tend to get called in more. Or like if I put out a casting call and I notice that they haven't submitted, sometimes I'll send them a private message and be like, hey man, I really think you'd be good for this role. Why don't you come on in? So if I enjoy your work, then it makes me more likely to pursue you to come in so that I can get you in front of the people that matter.
Sure. Cool. Good friend to have. What are some sort of do's and don'ts in the casting room?
I would say I look for people who are professional, so they show up with a headshot and resume. And when you're submitting to me, that you have an actual acting reel for me to watch. Don't, I would say, make excuses or like come in unprepared. So if I give you the lines like a week or even, 3 to 4 days ahead and you come in and you don't have the lines memorized, even if you're holding the lines in your hands, but you have them memorized, like that shows me that you are going to show up on set and be ready to work and know your lines and have something prepared. Whereas if you come in and you've had the ability to have the lines for a week, but you haven't worked on them and you're just cold reading, it's kind of like, well, is this the best person for the job? Now, sometimes somebody will come in and they won't have the lines memorized, but they're just amazing. And I'm like, hey, man, what are you going to do? This guy is just, or this gal, or this person is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Let's see what they can do. Maybe they'll get a call back anyway.
Yeah. So how about with cold reads? Is there a different etiquette to that in any way?
Cold reads, I personally enjoy doing them myself as an actor because I'm like, oh, good. I get to just come in, look at this, and, make some strong choices and go in there and see what happens. On the other side of the table, I feel like it hinders most people because they don't get the chance to prepare the character. They don't get a chance to work with the lines and make some choices. And then it's very awkward and, not necessarily getting to see their talent. And also, I feel personally as an actor that it doesn't really show yourself as an actor. Like, it's a specific skill, cold reading, and it doesn't necessarily translate to how good of an actor you are. So somebody that can be total... I was about to swear.
Yeah. Thanks
really
for
bad. I was going to, yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Really bad at cold reading could be a phenomenal actor, and we would never know if we we're just having you cold read. Because it's really a specific skill of being able to go in, look at the lines, make some strong decisions, make some character choices just on the fly, take some notes from the director, and boom. But, some people just don't work that way.
Yeah.
So I would rather give everybody the chance to just come in and, have their character prepared if they have enough time and really show me what they can do. I feel like I'm hitting the table a lot. I'm sure our producer's like,
passionate.
Stop hitting the table. Stop hitting the table. But
sorry. Actors. Right?
I know. I get really passionate and then my arms start flailing everywhere.
Please, more of that. I'm into it.
Yeah.
I was wondering, do you have any go-to questions for actors when they're in the casting room?
I usually like to see what they bring first, to see, is this person going to be worth the time to actually sit there and give notes? So if I see them being able to do a scene and make some choices that may not necessarily be what the director is looking for or what's good for the character, at least they can make choices. Then I'll be like, okay, let's give you some feedback. We're going to have you do it again, and we'll go from there. And, some people, they nail it right off, and I'm like, well, I have no feedback. And then some people, it's like, okay, they're not ready yet. But, thanks for coming in, and
right.
Please come back and keep working on your craft. So
if you don't ask any questions, it could be really good.
Could be really good. Could be really bad. You never know.
You never know.
What else? So talking to actors in the room. I try to just make them as comfortable as possible, because a lot of people will come in and they're just full of nerves, and I feel like that's the hardest part about the audition is you are getting in your own way. So if you're friendly and you're nice to everybody and you try to keep it relaxed in there and comfortable for everybody, they are then able to share their talent more. So that's what I hope to do. Seventh hour of casting in, and you're tired and you're hungry. Sometimes you may not be able to you're just like, oh, I just want to go home. Like, I mean, everybody can feel that way. It's actually very arduous and I wouldn't say stressful, but it's like you really have to have endurance and patience.
Sure.
as a casting director.
Yeah, I was about to ask, like, what is the experience of a casting director?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've talked about actors coming in, how to make them comfortable, but you're sitting there 8 hours watching people back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is that like for you guys?
Well, I'd say, I mean, and you've been there too. You've been on the other side of the table. I say if you are ever able to sit on the casting director side of the table, either as a reader or anything, it's a wonderful experience because you really get to see what everybody else is doing, you know, and learn from that. And I've learned hugely from that on what to do and what not to do as an actor in an audition. And for me, that's invaluable. So I really, really enjoy that. As far as the long hours and, you know, it's really just making sure that you get it, you know, you are well rested and you get enough food and you make sure that you're patient and you're willing to give each person their shot. And, you know, I feel like that's important. I've been in a lot of auditions where it's like the casting director is just like on their phone or not really paying attention. And I'm like, I'm acting my heart out here. And you're just like, you know, talking to them about what you're going to have for lunch or something. And it's like, man, I really, really would like that side of the table to just give me my chance, give me my moment. Maybe I don't look right for the role. There's a level
of respect for the amount of effort and love and passion that the actors are putting out.
And to be honest, it's a really hard thing to do because it's really easy to get into this person and the first word out of their mouth, they either don't look right or they're not ready to be a lead role, and you're just kind of like trying not to have your eyes glazed over. You're like, okay, let's give them a chance. If there's some way that I can help them, or if it's just be there and respect them, and so that they feel like they can come back and keep working at their craft. So
because they might not be right for that role, but who knows what'll come up down the line that they could be appropriate for.
Absolutely.
Don't want to scare people away.
And like people that I really, really enjoy the performance for, but that don't get cast, I will often like reach out to them and be like, hey, you know, I know how hard this is, and there's so many factors that have to do with casting. You know, it's not just necessarily a person that does the best job, and I've seen it many times. The best audition doesn't get cast because it's either A, the look, or B, some political reason. Not politics, like, you know, but like inner workings of casting where it's like we have to cast this person because they have this relationship that can get us this.
Sure.
Which, you know, so and so I'm always like, you know, you shouldn't ever be discouraged because you didn't get a role. And that's helped me as an actor as well. It's like I go in there, I do the best job I can. If I get good feedback and I don't get the role, I'm like, you know, there's so many different factors, different reasons, you know. Maybe they had already cast their best friend's dog's uncle in that role. And,
dog uncle. Big threat from the dog uncles out there.
You know, so you just never know. The point is to go in there, do your job, which is perform as if this is already your role, and leave everything else up to, you know, the people making decisions, because you literally have no control. Right. Other than, you know, telling the casting director or the director, hey, I had a great time auditioning. Thank you for having me in. Like,
sure.
It's about what you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did get a question from our audience, Victoria Urbanek, who actually, if you're into travel, she has a very fun blog called Chronic Wanderlust. So
shout out to Victoria.
Yeah, shout out.
Go travel on Chronic Wanderlust.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. She does some cool pictures. But she had a specific question for a casting director. Okay. How are background actors cast? And do they always get paid?
So it's a production by production type thing. Sometimes none of the actors get paid. It just depends on what the production is. So generally, background actors, especially in Las Vegas, can be cast a variety of ways. So if it's a huger production, sometimes they'll have some bigger production companies. There's a couple in town that will put out a notice, hey, you know, it's $75 for 8 hours. Can you show up? And they bring everybody in. And a lot of the actors in town just will generally do that just to be on set. Then some of the time, for some of the smaller productions, somebody will put out a casting notice. Hey, we need background actors. And then a lot of times it's like, hey, Rose, what are you doing right now?
Yeah. So
Can you
true.
come down and, do a thing? Maybe we'll get you some screen time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it just depends on, it's a hard answer to, hard question to answer. Here we go. English is only my first language, but sometimes I think it's my second language. It's the first, it's a hard question to answer because, project by project, it changes so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Is there something, if someone were to be interested in extra work, would you have any suggestions about how they could get into it?
If you're local here in Las Vegas, I'd say there's a couple out there, but the one that comes to mind would be Julie Goldman Agency. She tends to do a lot of the bigger projects in town that need background actors. There's a few. Generally, agencies in town, I would say just go sign up with all of them. Which brings up another point. If you want to sign up with all the agencies in town, get professional headshots. This is my PSA to you, actors. Get professional headshots. No more, this is me in my backyard with my cell phone.
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure that you can forego, going out to eat a couple times a week and your Starbucks coffee and save up $125 for 2 looks, get a commercial and a dramatic headshot, and take it seriously. If you want to be an actor and you're going to go to an audition, bring a professional headshot. It means so much to be able to take your audition and take your headshot and be like, here, director, this person is good. Like, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
And it's your calling card. It's one of the most necessary things. And I'm about to go off on a tangent here, so
okay, so
be prepared
I'll stop
for my
you.
rant.
No, that makes a lot of sense because as a casting director and handing off to the director, I imagine you want to see everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, people will email in their headshots and resume, but it's not the same as being able to lay everyone out on the table and really recap.
Yeah, and even if you've emailed in a headshot and resume, bring in a hard copy because having that physically there when you're in the room, it means a whole bunch. And I'd say in the auditions that I've casted, I'd say only like 60% of people bring a headshot and resume. And it's like, guys, this is your calling card. This is how I can show you to the people that make the decisions. So if I don't have that, then it's kind of like, well, there was this guy, and I can't remember what he looks like. He's somewhere here in the video.
Right. Let me look through all of the footage of all of the auditions and find his slate.
Oh, I think it's that guy, but,
Yeah.
So headshot and resume, super important.
Okay.
This is the end of the PSA. Dun, dun, dun. Okay.
Well done. Much appreciated. This is an educational podcast, so definitely have a takeaway. That's
Good.
very important. What about taped auditions? How is that affecting the whole casting world?
Man.
Yeah,
Love it. It actually makes it a lot easier for us to find the best talent and also cast a broader net. So I first, as an actor, I was like, oh man, these video auditions are such a pain in the butt. But now, you realize that you get to do as many takes as you want.
Yeah.
So it's like, and you get to see what you're doing. Like, you can self-direct yourself and really get what you want out of the audition.
Sure.
And so being able to send that into a casting director if it's requested, it's huge. And you can also, not everybody can show up on a random Saturday or a random Sunday or Thursday or Friday because, this is a 24-hour town and a lot of the actors have day jobs or night jobs or whatever. So sometimes there's a lot going on, some kind of weird convention or whatever, and you're sitting at a booth scanning badges instead of auditioning for me, send in a video audition. So I'm always happy to look at it. And also, if it's not ready, if that person's not ready to audition, it's like, I don't have to sit here for the rest of their audition. This is pretty harsh, but it's like, I can tell in the first 15 seconds, okay, they're not ready, and I can move on to the next one.
Wow, that makes sense. Does speed things up for you.
Does speed things up, and so I'm all about the video auditions, and we tape all of our auditions anyway, so that we can go back and review them, and show side by side the different candidates, and et cetera, et cetera.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'll keep all of that in mind.
Yeah.
And you all keep all of that in mind too. So, where can our audience find more about you and your work and just keep up to date on all things Michael Forsch?
Okay, so across the board, all social media, not really on Snapchat, but I think I do have it, and I'd have to reinstall it. So if you really want to send me a Snapchat, you can. But just find me at Michael Forsch on Instagram and Twitter or on Facebook.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yay, I had a
I've
good
learned a
time.
lot. I'm sure the audience has learned a lot, and I'm very happy you had a good time.